Hi, everybody. How's it going? Good to see you all. I'm Captain Foley, and it's time for another Thursday night first reaction to Strange New Worlds, Season 1, Episode 3, The Ghosts of Illyria. Illyria, yeah, that's it. That thing. All right, let's see. So we've got 2 super chats to start out. So Ozzy, $2. Any suggestions? Spock? Yes, Captain. Run. Peter Lakako, $5. Kirk didn't have an accident this episode. I lost a bet. Damn it. Well, that does suck. But that's okay. We don't want to make him into a clown either. So there's that. Let's see. Just going to catch up to the chat here and start from here. So you guys can really hear the pug. She's like lying here snoring. SC Scout guys, what the fuck? They thought the colonists were the ghosts, but they don't make any effort to try to help them. There's nothing to help at this point. The colonists protected them. The colonists are fine living on the planet like that. Hey, Kit, how's it going? Liz Jericho, we go from Chapel messing with their genome in this episode to being absolutely banned here. That was quick. Whatever, squeaky, you're freak, Captain. Doubt they can change them from plasma beings back to humanoid. Exactly. Trekyards, since photonic life forms exist in Star Trek, the existence of photonic viruses not too far a stretch in universe. Matt thought this episode was fantastic. I think this was a good episode, but maybe the weakest so far, says Joseph. Get 10K. I can hear Empress Pug. Clearly, you have a good mic on the phone. Oh, she's not even really snoring. She's just breathing funny right now. Anyway, yes, welcome back, guys. This episode, I kind of agree with Joseph there. I think this one is hard for me to really say if I like it as much as the other two. It was good. It was good. It was interesting. There's some good stuff in it. Also some kind of silly stuff, but overall, I think this is probably like the least good out of the three. But PJ Tehran, I don't know how number one could go undetected or fail to use superpowers previously after like 20 years in Starfleet, and the Doc hiding his daughter is in the buffer. Starfleet misses a lot of big secrets. Yeah, that's the thing. That's one of the things I have with problem with that, because once you say, okay, we can store anybody in the buffer, they don't age, whatever, that would solve so many fucking problems. So many episodes of Star Trek could be saved by just keep them in the buffer for like a day or two while I do this thing, and then we'll get them out. It just seems like a weird thing. Although it's going to lead to the fact that Mbanga is no longer chief medical officer in TOS, because I think he's going to get in trouble for this, or something's going to happen. So I do like that in a way, but the Nurse Chapel stuff was good. The Spock and Pike stuff was really good as well. I hope nobody starts saying Spike, like Spurk, like whatever. It's just stupidity. Just please don't do that. Let's see. The number one stuff, her actually being an Elysian, is dumb, I think, anyway. But it is what it is. It's all fine. It's all good now. It's fine. It's fine. It's still a good episode, so let's give it that. I love how it ended with the in the pale moonlight kind of thing, like, computer, delete that entire personal log. Hold on one second. Brian Straight, $5. Best part, number one, Kirk ripping her tunic. Yeah. I find the lack of red shirt deaths disturbing. Listen, Jericho, the Enterprise is the flagship now? No, it's not. That line really annoys me. It's not the flagship yet. So, whatever. They think it is. It's fine. It's the Enterprise. Of course it's the flagship. No, that's not yet. So, Matt says, it didn't bother me that she was of that race. I found her personal log at the end there kind of touching. Una being that species is from the novels. I haven't read those novels, so I don't know. Mark Lawrence, $5. Keep Tuvix in the buffer so no one gets attached to him and calls restoration a murder. Yeah, there you go. Andre says, I thought it was a good episode. Number 1 pulled a Cisco with the personal log. Absolutely, she did. Doc McGillicuddy, $5. Thank you so much, guys. I should be drinking for these super chats, so I apologize. Heineken tonight. Stock McGillicuddy, $5. Wouldn't it make sense to have a specific transporter buffer for issues like this, like cryo chambers? It would really save many lives. Yeah. Thraxis, I love Nurse Chapel, that cucky. I know how good I am. At the end there was great. Yeah, and a little smirk on her face. Kit 10K, I agree with you on the merging of their names. I hate it when that happens in general. Question of Trek. Computer, delete the buffer. Captain Janeway. List Jericho, obviously a Foley class starship would be the flagship. No, I don't think so. Matt Boardman, one thing that I enjoyed about this episode is that it again drives home how well this crew knows each other. It was more important to Pike and number 1's contributions be how she's known rather than being a stickler for the rules. Yeah. I loved Pike where he's like, that's a conversation I welcome. It's like, hell yeah. You tell Starfleet where it's at. Yeah. This episode was good, but not as good as the other two. Okay, yeah, that's my thought as well. Would it be hilarious if Lon's surname was done solely for the scene here with Una? Olivia Julius, man, this is the weirdest reveal of a first officer being a different species since we found out Samuel is secretly British. That's funny because we actually make a joke about that in our review of this episode, which you'll see tomorrow afternoon, the edited version. That's kind of funny. Question of Trek, who loved it when number 1 ripped her shirt open? Good times. Hammer stuff was good. I'm a genius. You should hurry. Uhura had a lower decks cubby. Yes. It's funny, when I first read that, George, I was like, Uhura had a lower decks chubby. What? A chubby? No. Yeah, cubby, yeah. Thraxis, the computer voice is very close to Majel. I think it's a nice callback. It's just another thing that makes one feel like it's actual Trek, some of the comfort food. Yes, absolutely. The computer voice is perfect. Lieutenant Ortega says, so far is tragic backstory free too, along with Nurse Chapel. It would be nice if, Ortega's didn't have a tragic backstory. Yeah. Trek or not, funny, when Hammer went nuts and wanted to run into a ball of planetary mantle, that he used his genius to beam aboard. Doc says, I think everyone needs to understand if we're going to have the episodic Trek, not every episode will be a blockbuster, but so far it's a better start. Yeah, absolutely. At least they're self-contained stories, and yeah, there's always hit and misses with episodic. It's not like you pick a really bad episode and drag it over the course of 10 episodes. So you got, it's fine. Andrew says Pike had to know he wasn't going to die on the planet, right? Well, yes. Olivia Julius, why do I have a feeling that Hammer just blinked the lights in the beginning just to make it look like he's doing something major? I don't know. Excellent chick fight. Needed more grunting and hair flailing. Thraxis, Hammer's a genius, yet he proceeds to try to do this most stupid thing ever, basically melt the ship. Yeah, well. Wavicle, okay. But when number 1 sauntering down the corridor with Hammer stuck over his shoulder, tell me you didn't notice. Notice what? It was like a doll? It wasn't an actual person. Matt Boardman, another positive for me is how well these sets work. Unlike the Discovery, which feels Mass Effect, the Enterprise feels like a ship you would feel comfortable working on. Yes, I'm loving the sets. I'm loving the ship. SC Scout Guy, this episode was good and I enjoyed it, but I think their goal with this episode was to fill in backstory on several main characters. Yeah, it's going to be their goal in a lot of episodes to do that. So maybe it's just me, but when number one throws Hammer over her shoulder, he looked blatantly like a dummy she was carrying. Yes, well, it did. It absolutely did. To Jesh Patel, I'd give this episode a solid 8. Not as good as the first two, but several great moments. Plot holes, though. Pike ordered all power off in episode 2, right? Including medical transporters. That's a good point. Matt Boardman said, I cracked up when Hammer said, I can feel the face you're making. Yeah. Sir Dork, hey, I finally caught alive. I really like this episode. Well, good to see you, Sir Dork. Glad you could make it. Great name, by the way. Thraxis, I'm so glad just not another set of redressed Discovery hallways. It's like actually a distinctive looking design. You can see a lot of care was put into it. Yes. Hello, Colin. Trekyards says it's a bit jarring how each episode deals with the character's backstory. A bit forced at times. In real life, we don't reveal people's backstories in series. Andrew Stepp, I love the callback to Lower Decks when the lights blinked and the crew just stopped for a second and carried on like nothing was happening. Jeff Stern, member for 8 months, the rank of commander. Thank you for your service, Commander. Says, writing has been spot on. Great so far. It's great. Jake Gearhart, Hammer being dumb by beaming that piece of mantle on the ship makes sense enough because he was infected. Yes, it does. This is Jericho. There is a continuity error here. They say that Khan caused massacres, but Spock clearly states he did not in Space Seed. Olivia Julius. So, can you say Strange New Worlds is a 3 out of 3 of good episodes now? Is that a record for your Star Trek series in their first season? No, it's not a record for them in their first season. If you only had 3 episodes of TNG, you'd be like, those are all good. You don't have the other seasons to compare them to. So yes, there's been 3 good episodes. That doesn't mean it's not going to get better and better as the seasons go on. And then we'll look back at these ones and go, wow, those were pretty plain and boring. So I hate that argument. TOS had some amazing episodes right off the hop. It was the best first season of Star Trek ever. So I hate that argument. Oh, it doesn't get good till season 3. That's bullshit. So, but anyway. Good tea, nice house, $5. Una's got a secret. Dr. Mbaga's got a secret. Your next, tell us Star Trek secret about yourself. Not even Samuel knows. A Star Trek secret about myself. A Star Trek secret. What do you mean by a Star Trek secret? A secret about myself that nobody knows. I don't know. I'd have to think about that. I'm kind of an open book. I kind of just tell everything. But Doc McGillicuddy says, I feel like Strange New Worlds will do well this season and kind of takes a dump on Kurtzman's political platform. We want stories about modern issues. Done well, not shoved in our face. Jake Gearhart, I wonder what they'll do once they run out of backstories. George, that's when the romances will start. George Mangrum, well, Trekyards do a breakdown of number one's makeup and perfume stand. No. Tertiary adjunct, the pattern buffer is capable of holding matter stream in suspension for 420 seconds before degradation. TNG technical manual. Maybe he finds that out at some point. Darth Maul, I forgot how hot Rebecca Romijn is in that scene. She's still got it. She's all right. Wouldn't call her hot. I think she was better when she was younger, but hey, that's just me. Grant McGregor, $5. Having everyone with a tragic backstory feels like they're forcing the same tropes that shot Picard and Discovery in the foot. They are playing with fire. This is Jericho. Anyone else think that the virus would be a good one to give to vampires? Jeff Stern, Captain, sorry that I have missed so many lives. This is the first one I've been able to make in over a month. Jeff, I'm very disappointed. But thank you for making it today. BJ Turan, season 3 of TOS was the one with the sketchiest episode. Yeah, season 3 of TOS was objectionably the worst season, although there are some really good episodes in season 3. So, this Jericho, Ortega is going to be an ancestor to a legacy character. Okay. The Fog of War, characters with tragic backstories is fine if done well. Pretty much every main character on DS9 had a tragic backstory in some way. SP847256. He said best first 3 episodes, as in first 3 of all Trek episodes. What? Jeff Sturm, secret. You were a blue shirt before you were a gold shirt. I was a red shirt. I was a security for a long time. Never died. Fun fact. Thraxis. They are all tragic backstories, or they are complex, layered backstories. We all live with the good and the bad we experience within our lives. I don't know. It feels believable. I kind of agree. BJ Tehran. I love Christina Chong's British accent. Matt Boardman, yes, but Scotty was able to find a way around it in Relics, so there's always a way around those standards in Tech Trek. Sir Dork, ever since I became a father a couple years ago, scenes like the one with Mbaga and his daughter or any DS9 Cisco father-son scenes hit different. Lisa Jericho, she was better when she was naked and blue. That's true, and that rhymed, too. Naked and blue, that's true. Andrew Hess, they literally played with fire this week. Colin Barrett, only have one issue with this episode. Could they not find a more believable dummy hammer for number 1 to carry through the ship? Yes. Chuck Jones, what was anyone else bothered by the ion storm above the planet that looked like a smoke cloud with lightning? No, I wasn't. I thought it was cool. Olivia Julius, attention all crew members. We are initiating a level 5 lockdown protocol effective imminently. Non-essential personnel are confined to quarters until further notice. That's the thing. Oh, that's one of the things that annoys me. Thank you for pointing that out. So they do the lockdown announcement. Uhura's on the bridge at her station. The announcement says, if you're off duty, stay confined to your quarters. If you're on duty, stay confined to your duty stations. Because the last thing you want is somebody that's just getting off duty to wander through the ship, run into people in the turbo lifts, run into people in the hallways, go to their quarters, meet up with the people that they're bunking with, and infect everybody along the way. Because guess what? Number 1 was on the bridge. Yes, she wasn't affected, but nobody else knew that. It could be an antigen in the air that she had an immunity to. Uhura might not have. Other people on the bridge might have been affected. But then guess what? Lo and behold, Uhura was down in her quarters, sleeping. And then when they come in to find out why she wasn't infected, number 1 says, so you were off duty and you went to sleep. But you weren't. You were on the bridge when the lockdown happened. You should be staying on the bridge instead of wandering down to your quarters and infecting everybody along the way. That's something that really bothered me. Captain, do you think we will see Scotty? Probably, yes. Not this season, though. That dude Vince, me neither. Oh, yeah, it didn't seem tragic. Yeah. Grant McGregor, $5. What was frustrating for me in this episode was, number 1, hiding their power. Felt confused till later. Thought she was patient 0, then an unknown power. Yeah, I can see why that would be annoying. Mr. T, I came for Trek but stayed for Nurse Chapel. Nova Omega, the series is falling into that overly emotional schlop instead of telling a tale of morality and wit. Una's backstory was more like Bashir's. That's not tragic, more like they couldn't help it. Did you recognize the colony as Ontario Place? Yes, I did. It was the old Ontario Place. Yeah. Wasn't Illyrian. Wasn't it the Illyrian? What? Adam Vera, hey Cap, can't stay around, but you the man. Thank you very much, Adam Vera. Thank you for joining. Matt Boardman, exactly. It's not like she's going around making a big deal about it. She just does her job. She doesn't act like it's some wounded bird. Yes, exactly. It's not a tragic backstory, but I know why people say that. So, Doc McGillicuddy, I want to see Pike push the limits of safety and common sense. He knows that he's not going to die. What's the craziest scenario he can get into? Beam himself into space. SC Scout Guy, wasn't it the Illyrians that Archer stole the warp core from in the Shifting Expanse? They didn't look like a human in that episode like number one does. Yes, it is the Illyrians in that episode. We actually have a video coming out about that. But they did make a point of saying that the Illyrians, instead of terraforming worlds, terraform their bodies to adapt to the different planets or different worlds instead. So yes, we do have a video coming out all about that where we talk about the inconsistencies with that. And that episode where he steals the warp coil it's Damar playing the Illyrian, the same actor that played Damar. So they locked down but didn't lock down. They turned down the lights but turned them off. Americans dealing with COVID. That's the other thing. Well, let's turn off all lights on the ship. Okay, cool. Oh, shit. Lon knocked out Nurse Chapel. I gotta go find Lon. Or no, it was going to get Hammer. Walking down the corridor, all the fucking lights are on. Sure, the upper lights are off except for the end of the corridor, which is super brightly lit. But if you're going to do that, turn off all the lights. It's transmitted by light. Make it dark. It's a spaceship. You can do that. Victor Garcia, the announcement was that if you were on duty, something would be done. I took her thing as she eventually was relieved. Yeah, but that wasn't clear. And it still doesn't make sense. Oh, yeah. It's fine that one of the away team was on the bridge and you guys all might be infected at some point or have the particles on you or whatever it is. But no, it's fine. You're relieved of duty now, even though we're on lockdown. Please take the turbo lift all the way down. And if you ride with somebody, it's fine. It's fine. I know Lon was infected because she rode with somebody, but no, you'll be fine. Then walk down the hallway to your quarters, and by all means, hang out with your two roommates because let's try to infect as many people as possible on your way back. While you're at it, why don't you stop at the fucking mess hall and have a bite to eat? Maybe go socialize at the bar. Talk to as many people as you'd like on your way back to your quarters after we relieve you in a lockdown. Jake Gearhart, it feels nice to be complaining about the plot holes and minor issues rather than things like the gun design and the culture being completely rewritten. Yes, we need a level 9 diagnostic. John McWhat says, I like this one. Yes, I did too. Matthew Mahler, my parents are in their 70s and said they had been watching it and it reminded them of watching TOS. That's cool. Tajesh Patel, I really wonder why they're bringing in James Kirk in season 2 if this season is as strong as the first 3 episodes. When you keep that arrow in your quiver, he's going to be around for an episode, maybe 2, to come and help out Sam with something, and then it's going to be like, hey, this is this Kirk guy. Bye, Kirk. Oh, maybe we'll see you again someday. And he probably impresses the shit out of Christopher Pike, and that's why Christopher Pike selects him to be the next captain of the Enterprise. It's going to be one of those things. Geekicidal tendencies, disappointing episodes, same old drunk virus that's been done again and again. The Doctor's story arc has me intrigued. Lots of ways that can go. Wavical, about the moment when Uhura is suddenly off duty, it's just a cut forward in time. So I don't really give a shit. Stay at your post. It doesn't matter. And it's not clarified. So it's a weird disconnect. It's a lockdown. It's a virus. You don't want to be spreading it around the ship. Stay in your sealed science labs. Stay on the sealed bridge. Don't go anywhere until they've got more of an answer, which they never got. Andrew Hess doesn't get any more Trek than ion storms and transporters. Kit 10K, I'm still hoping to find more about Pike's past, such as family, a few stories of what he did at the Academy, etc., etc. Jeff Sturm, I thought that the chemistry with Pike and Spock was really good. It's going to lead into why Spock brought him back to Talos 3 and TOS. Oh yes, it already has been established. Like they already have a good enough friendship that he would do that right now, let alone all the other episodes that are going to come after this. Bryce says, I guess you can't retcon a character that has no backstory, but another augment, another tragic backstory. Yes, Aurelians have to alter their DNA. Such a cool idea. Matt Boardman, not every Star Trek episode has to be a morality play. Not every episode of previous Trek was. Nova Omega, it did feel a lot like Discovery. I want to avoid that at all costs. That dude Vince, I didn't realize Casey Biggs, Damar, played the Illyria. Nice, yeah, go check it out. Watch the episode. Ozzy, personal wish. Oh, yes. Doc McGillicuddy, who is your daddy and what does he do? Geekicidal tendencies. The elephant in the room was I the only one who thought number one's boobs play a major role in this episode? Oh my god. John McWhat. I really thought when they turned out the lights that Hemmer was going to become a main character in the episode. Yes, me too. He's blind, so. Sonic Fan 22, Captain, sure sorry I'm late. That's okay, Sonic Fan. Doc McGillicuddy, you're not the only one. This is Jericho. Even in the 23rd century, they can't do lockdowns properly. Dreamer out there, trying to beam up a piece of the planet's mantle. Most bullshit thing I ever seen in a Trek. Wow. Why? It's kind of bullshit for the time period where the transporters were a little more primitive. They even needed stasis fields around people so that they wouldn't move during transport. But they totally dropped that for Enterprise. So who gives a shit, right? Yeah, I get it, but it's kind of cool at the same time. Hug everyone you see on the way to your quarters because tomorrow you might be a floaty plasma being. Mark says, I would have stopped by the mess hall while locked down. Geekicidal tendencies cap. I tried to send a super chat from YouTube. Wouldn't take buttons and beer bottle caps. Oh, that's shitty. Maybe get some money. Josh McWhat. It feels like there was a scene missing where they relaxed the quarantine protocols. Yes. Bryce, did the Federation ever go back and help the people they stranded? What about the planet where Archer and Phlox decided to commit genocide by inaction? Stranger Wolves could follow up that thread. Yeah, hopefully they will do some Enterprise tie-in stuff. But ISO Racer, I don't know if someone said this, but Una's backstory as the Illyrian is apparently from Beta Canon. I'm not sure where, but it's interesting to see them select certain parts of the novels. Yes, they're kind of doing the Star Wars thing in that regard. That's funny, Matt. Olivia Julius, why does everything bad always happen to a helmsman who is in charge of the bridge? This is the way. Yeah, where was Lieutenant Mustache? I wanted to see him get injured again. Kingdom of Vinland. I think it would be cool if a bomber jacket was used instead of a normal leather jacket as a nod to the history of the Enterprise being an aircraft carrier historically. Dreamer out there, I do like two sexy augment girls on the ship, but what do you think about in regards to space? It doesn't make any sense in regards to Space Seed at all. So we've already talked about that quite a bit. Wouldn't the pattern buffer clear when Chapel beamed to the bridge first episode? No, not necessarily. The medical transporter you'd think would be able to take 2-3 people. It's one big pad, probably. I don't remember seeing the different individual pads, but if you're beaming somebody up to sickbay directly, chances are you might be holding them, so 2 people could go. And no, you can shunt that stuff off into memory, would be my guess. Tertiary adjunct, moral of the episode, lockdowns and genetic vaccines, good. Subtle. Richard says, didn't anyone notice Mbaga's daughter just vanish one day without a trace? Is there no record of her? She just lives in the pattern buffer? Okay, I want people to stop with the fucking COVID analogies and the lockdown and just it's bullshit. So just stop. All right, this is not anything political. Don't bring in that shit into it. So just don't. Okay, just gonna say that. Keeping Me Up podcast. Where have I heard computer delete that log entry before? Where has this character come out genetically enhanced before? Excel tendencies. Am I the only one who gets a hard on every time someone walks on that sexy as fuck bridge? It's stunning. Keeping Me Up podcast and Bunga's daughter in the buffer reminds me of the governor's walker's daughter in the closet. Don't know what that means. So, Sita Transmedia. With the lights off, the Enterprise's interior looked like the Nostromo from Alien. Ooh. Captain, I felt Rebecca Romaine played strong in this episode, so much so that this could easily be her show and she could be captain with little to no issues. It's good, though. Have you heard of John Landis? Yes, I have. No, batshit, not bull. I mean, as in, holy shit, this is insanity, crazy to see. Okay. The beaming up the mantle thing, mental, so cool. Oh, okay, gotcha. Misread then. Kit 10K, some people also may not know that Casey Biggs Dumar used to be married to Roxanne Dawson, Belana Torres, but are divorced. Mark said, I didn't think the transporters had biofilters at the time. Yes, they did, because every planet you'd go down to, you'd be bringing something back to the ship, which would then spread ship-wide and then to a starbase. And then, yes, they've had biofilters since the beginning. Trek or not, it's impossible to make it dark and thermal radiation, aka heat from you. Yes, okay. Jamie, the cute crew quarters have a little lower decks kind of vibe. Yes. Grant McGregor, $5. Oh no, I'm stuck at my station. Guess I'll pull another all-nighter. That's kind of what Hemmer said. I'm going to run a level 5 diagnostic for you to make you put you at ease, which will probably take all night. Good tea, nice house. Let's be honest, naming your child Lon Indian Singh, you're basically asking for them to be teased at school. It's like naming your son Rudolf Hitler and not expecting them to get mocked or beat up. It's not like they picked their last name, though. But yeah, I guess you could change it. So I want to see if the Illyrians have a discussion about how their first contact with Starfleet was to come in and steal a warp coil and leave them in space, then later elect the Federation president. Wasn't there episodes where transporters couldn't be through caves? Yes, depends on the material in the caves. There's always a material, a metal, or a mineral in the caves, in the rock that prevents beaming. 4 seasons of Discovery, but I still don't know the crew's name. 3 episodes of Stranger Worlds, and I can tell you the crew's middle names and their birthdays, and their shoe size, and their backstory, and their, a lot of their family tree. Yeah. Guys, hit that like button. We have 141 people here, 71 likes. Hit that like button. Let's try to get to 100. Keep the super chats coming if you're able to. Keep forgetting to drink for super chat. Best opening episodes of Star Trek series ever. Stranger World is so damn good. Merv's Trash. Whose tragic backstory will I bring up next week? Nick Weig. We had some nice social commentary in episode 1s, and that's it. Why is everyone still complaining? Because everybody's going to find something to complain about regardless. Captain Pike will stand up for Starfleet for number 1 for number 1 breaking multiple laws. Starfleet will not give in, so Pike resigns and thus avoids the accident 10 years. No, he gets trumped out of the service. And then he's like, hey, I don't have to take care of those cadets now. See ya. Wouldn't want to be ya. That's why he's like, I welcome that conversation. When I worked for ABC TV in the early 2000s, we were quarantined for several hours when we thought we received an anthrax package. We stayed fucking put until Hazmat cleared us. Shannon Bailey, who said Hemmer trying to beam a piece of the Earth's mantle was the most BS thing in Star Trek? Did you see Dr. Crusher getting off with a ghost, Spock's brain, the Salamander Voyager crew? There likely are Orion slave women in some of the transporter buffers, maybe the cargo ones. Could you keep someone against their will in a transporter buffer? That would be a cool story. It's definitely a moral question, moral situation, yeah. Captain Sisko with the confession personal log and deletes it. Sir Dork, is there a particular TOS character you're hoping will make an appearance? Although I'm doubtful, I would love to see a Dr. McCoy cameo. Oh, don't worry. If this goes 5 to 7 seasons, you're going to see Dr. McCoy. You're going to see Scotty. You're going to see Sulu. You're going to see them, each star. We're never going to see Kirk. So, yeah. Ones I'm hoping for, just Scotty and Sulu, actually. And maybe the first meeting of McCoy and Spock just rubs him the wrong way, so that's why he keeps picking on him. Did you guys call the larger sickbay a secondary overflow one? Yes, I think we did. Hey Cap, just tuned in and I'll have to rewatch after the live. I like how they focus on a character and tell a story from their point of view and yet still manage to include the cast in a meaningful way. Fleet Paw throws in $5. It's a Snickers because y'all are crazy when you're exposed to vitamin D deficiency causing viruses. Hammer is a cognizant of everything except someone flipping a light switch 10 feet away. Stuart, I wanted to let you know that I was able to get to talk to all 3 guests at Starfest: Brent Spiner, Michelle Hurd, and Terry Farrell. That's awesome, Chuck. I'm glad you had a good time. SC Scout Guy, I always thought in a Star Trek future that they would allow genetic engineering to allow trans people to be the sex they wanted to be. I wonder if this will ever be addressed, if it is allowed. Well, that's not genetic enhancement, though. That's a discussion that I don't want to get into right now. Chris Valdez, yeah, reminded me of the DS9 computer voice. Nova Omega, am I the only one who thinks the Doctor is bland and uninspiring? Yes. Sonic Fan 22, would you team up with Doug Walker, James Rolfe, or Chris Stuckman? All the above. Yes. Colin Barrett, has anyone seen Doug Drucker's interview with Sean Ferrick? And what do we think of the theory for why Strange New Worlds looks so different from TOS? Yes, we've all seen it. Doug has even talked to us about that kind of stuff in the past. It's an interesting theory, and it's fine. It's not like we haven't talked about that kind of thing before. So Hitler was had a half brother who moved to America, joined the U.S. Army in World War II, then changed his last name in the 50s. Jeff Stern, the amount of information you know is amazing. Thank you. Although I can't always recall it immediately. But thank you. Doc McGillicuddy, the mineral in the caves that halt beaming is called plutonium. That's one of them. There's been multiple episodes where they can't beam through a cave because either it's too deep or there's minerals or something in it that prevent beaming. So geekicidal tendencies. Rebecca Romaine is 50 years old. Well, not quite a 10 anymore. She is easy 8.5, which still puts most women half her age to shame. Yeah, she looks amazing for her age. So does Meng Wei, or whatever, from The Mandalorian. She's fucking 57. Stunning women for their age. That being said, I just prefer Rebecca Romaine younger. She's not really attractive to me as number 1 right now. I don't know why, but it's just what it is. Nurse Chapel's kind of where it's at. I hope we get to see someone at the bowling alley on Enterprise at some point in the show's run. Yes, I agree. No, he changed it from Hitler. So in World War II in the U.S. Army, there was a Sergeant Hitler in the U.S. Oh, interesting. John McWhat, there is a social commentary in this episode. The prejudiced Una faces can be applicable to many people with hidden identities, and prejudice pushed that whole colony to get wiped out. I thought it worked. Eric says, what about the Doctor in the original Cage pilot? What happened to him? Dr. Boyce? I don't know. I don't know what happened to Dr. Boyce. I would like to see him, though. Jeffrey Combs would play a good Dr. Boyce, I just got to say. Geekicidal tendencies. I felt like the episode needed more exposition and a kitten. Problem solved. Well, you had a kitten in Nurse Chapel. A little sex kitten. That was really inappropriate. It's not quite how I meant it either. Sorry. I'll move on. Moral of the episode, take more vitamin D. Yes. It honestly blows my mind that these 3 episodes are made by the same people who produced Discovery and Picard. How is that even possible? Fart Muffin. In Strange New Worlds, the result of not having 47 executive producers. It's almost like it doesn't go in 47 different directions per episode. Andrew Hess, going back to the size of Pike's quarters last week. It is possible he had his quarters and the captain's mess combined. Possibly, yeah. That makes sense. He's got that little kitchenette serving area, so. Trek has been inconsistent about genetic engineering. As long as you don't improve people, it seems okay. And to cure stuff, but Archer's dad died from a lack of genetic research. Plutonium. Yes, the plutonium in the caves. You're right. Thank you for clarifying, Doc McGillicuddy. Kit 10K. Speaking of Doug Drexler, I've been trying to remember how many times have you had him on Trekyards? 8? 8, maybe more. Plus, we went to his house. We visited him at his house. Top that, Trek culture. And not only that, but we arranged to have Brick Sternbach and John Eves meet us there too. So we had all three of them at Doug's house, and we had lunch at Doug's house. So, ha, suck it. Fart Muffin, remember when in TNG they were cool in genetic engineering and Pulaski got the old geezer virus because of it? Yeah. Grant McGregor, $5. So far, if they are right for having a different color than the cage, some people you get for the voice, and I like his. Yeah, Mbenga's voice is good, but his accent's a little rough sometimes for understanding. Kind of mumbles his lines, I find. That could just be me. But I really like the actor and the character. Talonhawk, a request. Please look into your mic volume. You're very low, which means it makes it very difficult to listen to you in the background while turning down anything else. Thanks. Well, Talonhawk, there's no other complaints. I actually got a complaint on how good my microphone was earlier in the evening because people can hear my dog on the floor, or on the thing back there, breathing. So I've never had an issue with the mic volume. So I don't know what the problem with your setup is, but it's on your end. So it's a high-end mic. So I don't know. And Becca tested the pattern of saving voice first. It didn't work. That's funny. Geekicidal tendencies. I love when the ship's lights flickered. Everyone at the exact same time just froze. Jeffrey Combs could play anyone, and I'll enjoy it. Well, Voyager had a captain's mess until Neelix invaded it. It's true. Sean says, I'm a little concerned about having different writers who are perhaps not very experienced will lead to the same problem of Disco and Picard in that we have too many plot points introduced by different people. Eric Epperlane, what do you think about the 3D cutaway schematic of the Enterprise shown in engineering during the rewriting and power? Very cool. I'd like to get those. I thought that was amazing. I'm a big fan of L-Cars displays and computer displays from Star Trek. They're my jam. Look at that. That's like a thing. So, yes, I thought it was fantastic. It looks amazing. My 12-year-old loves Strange New Worlds. He loves 90s Trek. That's cool. I would enjoy Jeffrey Combs in a role without heavy makeup in Strange New Worlds. It would be interesting to see him as a human telepath in Babylon 5. Stewart's mic volume is perfectly fine. I bet it's something on your end. Engineering looks nice, fits the ship, and not a fucking brewery. Seems partly inspired by the animated series, but why must they upscale the hell out of everything? The original Connie was big enough in my opinion. I got something on the inside of my shirt is like irritating my neck. Why were the patients in their underwear on the beds? They didn't even have a blanket. Well, the one guy was getting undressed in the hallway just to expose his body to more light, so they were probably undressing themselves and throwing blankets off. That's why. Mark Phillip says, tornado warning, and I'm on my porch. Might have to bug out. Ooh, well, be safe, man. 146 here and only 101 likes. Well, I have 103 likes now, but 143 of you here right now. Hit that like button, and it looks like this. Charles June, I wish they would light up the ship better in space. Sometimes it's just too dark in certain shots. I do agree with that, yes. Colin Barrett, I love that engineering map of the Enterprise. It was amazing. Hope to see more of that. Yeah, I mean, even some of the bridge displays are beautiful. And the helm displays, we get to see that in a few episodes. And there's a Dreadnought, Federation class Dreadnought right there. But anyway. The TOS sets do not fit inside the 290 meter TOS Connie. Well, I know people that have done cutaways that disagree with you. So the only real problem is the shuttle bay. But, meh. Huggins, wake up. You don't need to snore. Patrick Hayden. Maybe the underwear was so they could have more surfaces exposed to light. Yes. Scarpad Comic Treks, $5. So the phaser on overload in the cage, there was never any danger with number 1 there. Also, Mbanga, Mr. Freeze, problem. Stop with the character trauma. I guess that's a tragic backstory. I don't know if that's what one of the people were talking about with his poor daughter. Because honestly, number 1's backstory isn't tragic, but... Andrew Hess, do you have a YouTube's playlist on your collected LCARS videos? Yeah, I have multiple. I have one that has all the LCARS. I have a TNG one, I have a TOS one, I have a motion, like the movie era. I've got Klingon one, I've got a JJ one. This is on TOS right now. So yes, there are playlists. Unfortunately, they are private because if they're not private, they get ads put on them. And then an ad will pop up between my computer displays, which if I'm using them in the background for something like a fan film, or if I want to film something, I don't want an ad popping up. So unfortunately, they're private and you guys can't access them. But yes, I do have a playlist for that. Meant multiple, sorry. Dreamer out there, something I love. The engine room looks like TOS. You see the force projection bits without the screen, and it's just cool. It's a partial set completed with the hollow deck setup. Mbanga and Cap need to collaborate on a mumble rap album. Yes, because apparently I mumble all the time, and my volume's too low now. So I'm the mumbling YouTuber with the low volume. Yeah. I sound like the fucking Macho Man. Ooh, yeah. Mr. Freeze problem, what is that? Well, Mr. Freeze, his wife had McGregor syndrome, which there was no cure for. And so he froze his wife in an attempt to find a cure for McGregor syndrome to be able to cure her. So that's what they're talking about, Eric. Jamie, before the episode, I thought I was going to be a little like The Naked Now. Yeah, a lot of people were comparing it to that before we saw it today. Colin says, I'm surprised that Starfleet issued underwear that was not covered in deltas like everything else. Maybe it was just very small deltas. You just got to get really close. Kit 10K, there's definitely nothing wrong with your mic cap. After all, I can hear the pug breath and breathe, and my dog Jack is upstairs with my dad. Puggins making a lot of noise. Okay, what is this Connie thing? What is it? What do you mean? It's short for Constitution class. They're called a Connie. Doc McGillicuddy, I want to see a real Dreadnought class in Strange New Worlds. Well, it's not the Dreadnought class, it's the Federation class, but it's a Dreadnought, so. Joseph Bravado, I love how these lives, we end up talking about the episode about the whole 2 hours. The Strange New Worlds lives don't veer off the rails as much. It's true, because there's always something really good to talk about. And I don't get bored about talking about the episodes, really. Fart Muffin, do Ainars, I hate that name, do Ainars have vitamin D or need sunlight? I thought they were an underground species, and that's why they're albino and blind. You are correct, but there's probably still some kind of vitamin D issue. I don't know. Kit 10K, speaking of the Federation class Dreadnought, I'm working on the 3D file for it. Just say the word, and I'll make one up for you. Yeah, it's one of my favorite ship designs, so I'm down. Sonic Fan 22, if Justin Bieber is watching the stream right now, what would you say to him? Well, you were in the same class as my daughter Selena, so if you're ever mean to her, I'm gonna come and punch you in the head and stop being a complete asshole. Stop making Canada look bad. Fleetpaw said Connie is short for Constitution class. Yes. Dreamer out there. Honestly, I like seeing the underwear, just something that is real that they can show, and it just fits. We saw underwear in DS9. Sissy Scout Guy, if they stripped to their underwear and exposed to more light, then why the hell couldn't they give Nurse Chapel a severe case of the light virus? Because they know that you're a pervert. Greg Smith, maybe the ship designers realized that don't make turbo lift shafts so big, then they can have room for a kitchen in the captain's court lounge. There you go. Snap into a Slim Jim. Yeah. JD, when all power is ordered off, the doctor can just transport his daughter out of the buffer before the power is shut down. That's very true. Kit 10K, that was a nice Macho Man impression you did. Thanks, man. Keeping Me Up podcast. The smaller the delta is, the larger the package. Sean Haley says, or Healy, I just liked my first video ever on YouTube. Unfortunately, being in China, it's tough to get my bank account linked up, so I can't contribute yet financially to the channel, but I'm aiming to. Well, thank you, Sean. Much appreciated. And thank you for the like. It's very important, and it means a lot. So likes are good. If you can super chat at some point, that's cool too, but thank you for watching. And hello to China. If they only had decontamination scenes here, they wouldn't have this issue. Geekicidal Tendency says, question for the gatekeepers. Is the Doctor on the Enterprise a new character to Trek? No, he's been in a few episodes of TOS. Dr. Ambanga. He's not the chief medical officer anymore in TOS, so he's only in a few episodes. And yeah, he's just another doctor on staff. I don't think 23rd century. More Federation class dreadnought. See, get 10K. This is answering the question you proposed earlier. Yes, I love the Federation class dreadnought. Yes. Dragoon Photography. Tons of tragic backstories in old Trek. People need to stop whining. Tasha Yar came from a planet with literal rape gangs. True. Bryce says, I wondered what in Disco why Gray hadn't already changed his physical sex, let alone when he got a custom bod. But maybe Gray is happy as he is. Not all trans people suffer from affirmation surgery. Or seek it. Yes, this is true. So. Rel says, only a handful of worlds are a utopian future. Cisco said it best. The problem is Earth. Fleetpaw says, we don't like the term gatekeeper, geekicidal tendencies, but no, Mbaga is a legacy character. Megan Bruns, watching with Spock, my cat. Ooh, well, hello to your cats, Mr. Spock. Move along and paw, spur. Meow. Anyway, 90 degrees here today, up to a foot of snow tomorrow. So far, I'm really excited about Stranger Worlds. Good to know, but the snow, what? Snow's not good. Geekicidal Tendencies, Cap and Chat, thoughts on the actress playing Uhura. I think she's amazing, and she's a sweetheart. She's a really nice lady. I saw her in Chicago. Cute. I think it's perfect for Uhura. Get 10K. If you want a 3D printed Federation class dreadnought, you got it. All you need to know is which one you want. I'll let you know that off camera. Eric likes Nurse Chapel's outfit. Yes. Fart Muffin. Geordi was telling Data a sex joke in the beginning of Conspiracy in TNG while Riker and Troy giggled on the bridge. It's true. Colin Barrett. For the first time in 20 years, I found myself rushing home to watch a new episode of Star Trek. Stranger Worlds feels like TNG again. Don't get that feeling from Discovery and Picard for some reason. Because they suck. Compared to TNG. Anyway, yes, and I think The last two episodes of Strange New Worlds felt very TOS in their storytelling and their pacing, everything. This one had more of a TNG feel to me, and I don't know if it's just me that noticed that. Sure, it had some TOS elements, but it definitely had a TNG vibe to me. Let me know if I'm wrong, because you guys like to tell me when I'm wrong. So, Richard Johnson, wondering if Mbaga is actually the older brother of the TOS character. Original Mbaga looked too young to have been on CMO a decade earlier, and they haven't mentioned his expertise in Vulcan medicine. Maybe he gains that expertise serving with Spock here, and you see his development of it. But yeah, it could be a relation. Because honestly, you have to have people that served on the Enterprise be related to other people that served on the Enterprise. Samuel Kirk, for example. Like, you just have to do that. It's just, this is the way. Rel, this thing with his daughter is probably why he is no longer the CMO of the Enterprise. Yes. Bryce, I wish I was happy with my body. I don't need to read that kind of stuff or hear that stuff because that's not what we're talking about here. So, Fart Muffin, maybe Mbunga got in trouble and demoted from CMO because he kept someone in a pattern buffer decades before Scotty invented it. Yeah, maybe. And maybe it's because he doesn't realize what the hell his job is. Because he says, I'm the chief medical officer on the flagship of Starfleet. You're chief medical officer of one of the 12 Constitution class ships, yes. It's not the flagship yet. So you're apparently suffering some kind of mental problem because you're hyping yourself up, saying that the ship you're serving on is the flagship when it's not yet. So did you see the future? You're fired. He leaves to do a residency on Vulcan. They say that on TOS. Yes, they do. It could be a result of something that happens in Strange New Worlds. So. Tejesh Patel, perhaps he finds a cure treatment for his daughter on Vulcan, and that's why he leaves the ship away for service for 5 to 7 years, and also studies there with his spare time. I love that, Tajesh. I don't know. Sorry, I probably said your name wrong twice now. Raven de Grey. Maybe it's Mbanga's daughter's experiment that gets him the demotion, which leads me to yes. Geekasal tendencies. Fleetpaw understood. I meant it with respect. I had a feeling he was a legacy character. Thank you for that. Kit 10K. I don't mind a tragic backstory if, for some characters, it gives them some depth to them. For me, and I can't help them grow and explore it. So who wears a nightcap? Yeah, I found that kind of stupid. Honestly. She's got like a closely shaved head of hair. Why would you need a nightcap? I don't understand that. Like if you have like dreadlocks or you had like, you know, waves or curlers in their hair, you put the cap on over top. I get that, but I don't understand why she was wearing that. I thought it was kind of silly, but that's just me. Hey Donnie, how's it going? John McWatt. There were loads of sad backstories for the TNG bridge crew. Riker, Worf, Troy all had at least one dead parent. Geordi's mom went MIA. It's not new to Trek. It's how the stories are told. JB Posper. That's probably worse than discovering who General Chang's favorite Klingon Shakespeare character is. Claudius. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Raven de Grey. I agree that this week felt more TNG to me as well. Broken Speaker says, just finished watching. It was okay. Could have done without them saying lockdown so emphatically. I was triggered by the microaggression. I didn't even notice it. I didn't even notice that, and I've watched it 3 times now. I did not notice the lockdown parallel until I started this fucking live, and now I'm just sick of hearing it already. So, Doc McGillicuddy, I have no problem with Strange New Worlds telling stories like TNG. Trek has went so far down. Hopefully it can only go up from here. Bryce says, why would Mbenga stay on Enterprise when he no longer was CMO? Also, Uhura Kyle Chapel stayed on board, but went from center of the action to hanging out in the background. Dreamer out there, it felt like the TNG episode Power Play. Also, there was a Daedalus class displayed in one scene behind number 1 while she was going over the classified data. Yes, it looks like there's a Daedalus class on the one side and probably the NX-01 on the other side. They're really hard to see. I don't know why they lit them the way they did, but whatever. Thoughts on James Franco? I like him. Geekocidal tendencies, the size of the Captain's Pike's quarters. Wow. Cryptic Coffrey, they had to find a way for number one to be a Mary Sue. Dreamer out there. Also on the screen of classified info, there was a pic of an Illyrian girl with the same ridges as the ridges of Dumar and Enterprise. Oh, was there? Cool. Well, I'll have to check that out. We've got screen caps of that. We haven't really examined them too closely, but that's interesting. Good to know. Shannon Bailey, bring back Lieutenant DeSalle. He was good. He was a good angry officer. James Wilson, I love this episodic show and the fact that they are spreading in a possible season-long stories, Pike, Una, and Banga. Doc McGillicuddy, what currently is the flagship of the Federation? No idea. I honestly don't know. It's not the Enterprise, though. That only happens after the refit. Or, well, before the refit, after the Enterprise gets back from its mission under Kirk and then gets refitted. Then it becomes the flagship. Defiant. Captain, I believe this episode had a TNG vibe is due to the FX on board the ship and the multiple characters having more than a few lines to speak. TOS usually focused on the core three. Maybe that's it, but Tejas Patel. It's Tejas, but I'm so used to being mispronounced. It's not a big deal at all. Sorry, man. Oh, man. Scotty needs to learn his transporter buffer thing from Mbanga. JB, I'm completely bald, and I actually find that nightcaps help keep my head warm. So maybe that's... Okay, there you go. I didn't know that, so there you go. She's kind of a princess when she's like the princess in the pea, so she needs it completely dark, and she needs to be warm. I buy it. I like it. Keeping Me Up podcast. They won't have Mbanga demoted for his action because New Trek doesn't hold characters accountable. He'll likely decide to focus on studies and finding a cure and pass the job over to McCoy. Disagree. I think he might be found accountable and demoted. Snoopy McQueen, $5. Stranger New Worlds is great. It felt like a TOS episode. I hate the Doc voice. He's hard to understand. I love his voice. I think it's awesome. But at the same time, he is hard to understand. It is called a wave cap. What she's got going on in her head? Sure. My cap is probably a form of blackout mask. I wear something similar when I have to go to bed super early, like when the sun is still up. Okay. We'll get Dr. Boyce, who is Pike Chief Medical Officer. Well, he was the Chief Medical Officer. Because the cage has already happened. Way before Discovery Season 2. So, Dr. Boyce has already been the CMO and has left. Richard Johnson, the Disco Prize interiors are putting the D to shame. Remember Scotty saying in his day, even admirals didn't have quarters like this on the D. Yeah, right. Area 51, maybe an air conditioning duct blows cold air down on Uhura's head while she's sleeping. That's the nightcap. Get hammered on that issue. There you go. John Luck Pickard says liked. So hit that like button. Thank you. 150 people here, 132 likes. Can we get to 150? Only 18 more likes, 17 more now, 18 now because it's changing. I feel like an auctioneer. But hit that like button if you're just joining us. We'd really appreciate it. Bryce says, so those energy things are sentient? Wouldn't the Federation want to make contact with them, even if they are ex-Illyrian? Probably, yeah. Rel, Kirk dealt kudos. His brother's death, his son's death. Spock had issues with his father. Countless TNG characters had issues with their families. Families growing up issues are nothing new. Everybody's got some weird shit going on in their family, so. Kit 10K, I hope we see a Daedalus class in Strange New Worlds. You and me both. Jonathan, I thought it was an airtight episode. Or an all right. Okay, that was an all right episode. Okay, yeah, I kind of agree. It's all right. I wouldn't say airtight, but I know I just misread that. It's my dyslexia. I apologize. Geekocidal tendencies. How about those ion storms? Looked amazing, yeah. Patrick Hayden says, the only thing that's hard for me to believe is that Una never outed herself as Illyrian before. I don't know exactly why I find it difficult to believe. Just a feeling. Yeah, I know. Like, every scan she's ever had, every transporter log, all shows 100% human. What? Yeah. Doc McGillicuddy, I would love to see a Federation class with a bowling alley. water polo court, all that beautiful space on the inside of the saucer section. Bryce, pretty sure if the Strange New Worlds showrunners want the Enterprise to be the flagship now, it is. Sorry, Charlie. Yeah, that's fine with me. It's just proves that it's not the prime timeline. So suck it up, Charlie. I don't know. Don't fucking call me Charlie. Doc McGillicuddy, it's nice seeing people with accents in Trek. Not every human is from North America. Amen. Rel, I have a great sound system in my media room. They weren't hard to understand to me. However, I could see why some would, depending on their setup. Plus, a lot of people have problems with accents. I'm one of them. If people have a heavy or thick accent, I sometimes have trouble understanding them. So that doesn't help the situation. DJ, isn't Commodore Decker's flagship the USS Constellation? Possibly. I don't remember that, but it could be. Eric Epperling, The Cage has already happened. Yes, it happened like a year and a half before Discovery Season 2. Fleetpaw, yeah, that's about 3 years, or 3 years prior. That was about a year and a half. Might be 3 years. Yeah, it happened before Season 2 of the Discovery, though. Geekastyle Tendencies. Wait, what? The Cage has already happened. I thought it happened in 10 years. Help my confusion. The menagerie happens in 10 years. That's where Spock takes him back to the planet, and the Telosians, yay, you're not crippled anymore because we gave you an illusion. The Cage has already happened. Go back and watch Discovery Season 2. Talks all about it, meeting the Telosians. And then in Season 2, they go back to Talos 4. And the Telosians already know who he is because he's been there already. So go back and watch. Get 10K. Another ship I'd like to see, just to have more ships appear, is a freighter like the one that the M5 computer destroyed in the TOS episode, The Old Computer. I got one of those there. It's right there on the shelf, underneath K7. Rel says episode 1 was a 9.6 out of 10, episode 2 was an 8.7 out of 10, and episode 3 is an 8.1 out of 10. Chuck Jones, we're 3 episodes in, and each episode feels like a mashup of 2 or 3 previous Trek episodes with a bit of a new spin. I'm losing faith that this series will bring us anything new. Jesus Christ, nobody's ever fucking happy. Problem is, every Star Trek show has every series has an episode that's based on another episode from one of the Star Trek series. But I see your problem, but give it some time. They want to assure us. It's kind of like The Force Awakens. This is very similar to what you know. It's kind of like Star Wars. A little too much like it, maybe, but you liked it, didn't you? Some people did, some people didn't. Anyway, they want to comfort us, I guess. I don't know. Hopefully it'll get better. Everybody's, the first 3 seasons always sucked of every Star Trek, so we gotta wait for Season 3, I guess. Doc McGillicuddy, the Ion Storm looked like Galactus coming to devour Earth. I thought the same thing. That's hilarious. Richard Johnson, we're going to be worried for Mbenga's daughter every time the Enterprise is in a serious battle or under threat. Meh. Colin Barrett, beaming through an Ion Storm. I wonder if that bit of mantle hammer beamed up was from the Mirror Universe counterpart of the planet. Good question. Good point. I like that. Andrew Hess, did I dream it, or was there a planned Strange New Worlds Lower Decks crossover in the works? I think you might have dreamed it. I haven't heard that, so unless you're listening to one of the channels that, have people on the inside. Rel, I tend to watch with closed captioning on. It helps with the accents. Yes, I do on one of my watch throughs because I need all the dialogue. So when I do a review, I have it all in front of me so I can see exactly what the character said. But I usually don't do that in my first watch through. BJ Chiron, I like the Doctor. Wonder where he keeps his wife. Instead of fake holodeck family, he keeps it in the buffer. Raven DeGray, for the flagship issue, I just take it as maybe the Enterprise was the flagship at this point in time, as it is 10 years before Kirk, and then another ship becomes the flagship. Sure. Sorry. Now I'm deliberately focusing too hard on it. Anyway, Mr. Patel says, I think the cage happened 5 years prior to Strange New Worlds Season 1. Something like that, yeah. Polite Donut. It was an alright episode with some dumb things in it, but it still really felt like classic Trek, so I'm happy. Doc McGillicuddy, Sonic fan. LOL, I think you're in the wrong live stream. Jonathan, I got a little convoluted, and I understand that they wanted to insert real world stuff into it, but it felt like they were trying to make too many commentaries at once. I didn't get commentaries, so just enjoy it for a fucking show that it is. It's the show we've asked for. It's Pike. It looks more canon. It looks more Prime. It's episodic. Let's just not bitch and complain every time there's a story that resembles something that is analogous to what's going on in the real world. That's what Trek does, especially TOS. So, just why you fucking complain all the time, everybody? Just fuck. Rel says, I wonder if it was meant as a flagship of the Federation, most like exaggerating a point. Could be. Doc McGillicuddy, Fart Muffin, I think if the writers are watching this, you just gave them a plot line. Geekicidal tendencies. Brain fart. I do remember that now. Thank you for the reminder, Cap. The Menagerie. Yes. Donnie Pearson, I myself thought that the latest episode of Strange New Worlds is like some sort of prequel to the Naked Time episode from the original series. Not connected, so it's not a prequel. Dreamer out there, Wesley did say he told a joke and messed up a century of history, so now I'm reading it like this is the TOS 2.0 timeline made because Wesley told a dad joke. That's hilarious. And yes, I like that. Fuck Wesley. Shut up, Wesley. Colin Barrett, those rape gangs were really bad. In the flashback, Yara was trying to save a cat from the rape gang. Bestiality. Jesus Christ. John McWhat, even TOS repeated story concepts from itself. I am just happy to see Trek executed well again. Area 51, Starfleet Admiral. So, no lost parents, murdered siblings, or escaped from a hell planet. Cadet, no sir. I've had a pretty good life. Admiral, sorry, not tragic enough for the Enterprise. Kit 10K. Personally, I don't mind the episode that touches on the past event from a previous series because it feels like a nod to that show. Doc McGillicuddy. I feel like Picard and the Borg and First Contact made everything different. The Prime timeline just doesn't exist for us anymore. I know this is a theory, but kind of explaining things in my brain. Okay. Geekicidal tendencies. Good advice, Cap. Let the series breathe. Let's see where the writers are taking us. Yes. Keeping Me Up podcast. I mean, honestly, how many parents have wanted to just beam their kid away sometimes? Ozzy says, in Season 3 episode, the Enterprise incident where the Romulan female commander who has a hots for Spock tells Kirk the flagship malfunction where Kirk's Spock steal the cloaking device. Who has the hots for Spock tell Kirk that flagship malfunction. What? What? Anyway, Jeff Sturm had no complaints at all about the episode, none. Doc McGillicuddy, Yara escaping rape gangs only to get raped by a black oil slick. Well, she didn't get raped by it. She got, kissed by it. It was on her face. Just joined and don't know if this has already been mentioned, but I felt so happy that TOS comm panels with switches on the sickbay office and ready room desks. They're so beautiful. Yes, I noticed the toggle switches too. They look good. Jamie, I agree, Captain. It has all the things we have wanted. And everybody's still gonna bitch and whine and complain. So you can't make anybody happy these days. So it's just the way it is. Rel, it's 2022, and I feel like 2022 there is some law against happiness. Yes. Doc McGillicuddy, yes, Strange New World, it's a breath of fresh air in a room full of Kurtzman falafel farts. Wow. Vero Viren Vindictus. Vero Viren Victus. It's a terrible show and poorly written, and that said, I'm fine with it because it's an olive branch to bring some fans back to the fold. If we get more Treks, it's worth some bad. Sir Dork, it's just nice to watch an episode of classic Star Trek each week and be in a good mood. Yes, I agree. Kit 10K, when people constantly complain about things, then all they can say is, I guess, what you finger moving up. Miguel Morita, $5. Regarding Uhura's nightcap, it's a very common piece of sleepwear for people of color to maintain smoother follicles for a relaxed wavy look. I did not know that. Thank you very much, Miguel. Neomix, I do wish the science wasn't so heavy-handed and magical, and they had a bit more attention to detail. Okay, I don't know what that means, but okay. Bryce, I thought Hemmer was trying to beam up a mantle bit. He said something like, it's almost here. Connies are death traps. This time, 1701 came close to being another lost Connie. Well, the first, but yeah. BJ Tehran, maybe the Enterprise is a premier ship that commonly referred to as the flagship of the fleet in the media and among the general public. It is not officially such as HMS Hood in the 1920s and 30s. Yes, well, they are like the most esteemed ships to be on is the 12 Constitution class ships. So the flagships of the fleet, absolutely no problem with that at all. But the flagship of Starfleet, just the way it was worded, if you said that was CMO on one of the flagships of Starfleet, would have been better. But whatever, it's fine. I don't have much of an issue with it. I just wanted to point it out. The same statement I made applies. If your story is good, cardboard sets don't matter. Now, if your story is good, shiny sets don't really matter. But I'd like to see smaller sets. Jonathan, don't get me wrong, it was a pretty good episode, but just like every good Star Trek show, you have episodes that land perfectly and then some that feel a little off. Yes, and I said that going into this. Out of the 3 so far, this is my least favorite. But that doesn't mean it's bad by any means. Jeff Sturm, I have a theory on how the ship will look in TOS. Every time it gets damaged, they will upgrade the look, more like TOS with some upgrades, but it looks great as it does now. It looks fantastic as it does now. I do love it. And yes, damage, fix some things, have it fall more in line with TOS. We can hope. But I don't think they're going to do that, and that's fine. Dreamer out there, in my own review of the episode, I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. If it's a new timeline, this can work into a new space seed later down the line. Yeah. JB, question. If O'Brien could beam Odo into Dr. Bashir's balls, would he choose to pee Odo into Garrick's mouth? What the fuck? The Darth Eddie, if this quality keeps up for the next 7 episodes, this will be the best first season of any Trek series in at least 20 years and possibly longer. Fleetpaw, $5. Wesley, I'll teach them to tell me to shut up. I messed up a century of history and make them pay. Shut up, Wesley. Neomix, hand wavy, not heavy-handed. Bless you, Captain. Just curious, where did you find the Kirk Spock McCoy on the transporter pad model? It's not a model, it's one of the Hallmark keepsake Christmas things. It's from Hallmark. Just look up Hallmark transporter on Google or eBay, you'll find it. Bryce, I suppose that could be that he could. Eric Epperling, when matter and antimatter mix, gamma rays are released, but in this episode they say antimatter radiation instead, possibly to avoid any Hulk comparison. Yeah, I noticed that as well. It's just a weird thing. Andrew Hess, NX-01 was the flagship, mostly because it was the only ship for a bit. Well, yes. Ozzy says, it told you to take the Enterprise, the flagship to Romulus. I don't think she says the flagship, though. I think I could be wrong. But But no, I don't think so, Ozzy. She does say take the hull or the husk of the Enterprise to Romulus as a trophy. But Jeff Sturm, I want one of those away team jackets. I do too. Mr. Captain 93, this feels like real Trek. Will be hard to go back to Discovery. Then don't. Craig Smith, when watching Discovery and Picard, I can't think how no one will rewatch these shows in 10 years, unlike all previous Trek series. Strange New Worlds looks promising to change that. Keeping Me Up podcast. This episode is the third best of Strange New Worlds so far, and also happens to be the third best episode since Terra Prime. So, 907. I have loved all 3 episodes, haven't felt this for over a decade and a half from Trek. Yeah. Defiant 15E, Captain, with Discovery being so dark, figuratively and literally, and Picard being so dour, Strange New World is a breath of fresh air, and it's Strange New World is a breath of fresh air as it's colorful, bright, and happy. Pike is a happy guy. I like Pike. I do like Pike, and yes, I agree with everything you just said. Jonathan, the episode started with previously on Strange New Worlds. Threw me off a little. It came from nowhere and didn't provide anything related to the... They're going to do that for every episode, though. They did that for the last episode, too. Colin Barrett, A Strange New Worlds can keep the canon straight. It could almost accept it as what TOS would have looked like if they had the technology to create these visuals back in the 60s. Yeah, I kind of think the same thing. Bryce says Hammer was trying to beam up a piece of the mantle. If he hadn't beamed it up, he was struggling with it. Yes, and then he says, it should be here in a second, and he pushes them forward, and you hear it like to finish the transport, and then she shut it down. So, Jaws. Captain Foley, how great was the bait and switch? That Lon was just a baseline human who hates being associated with augments. Well, who knows the actual augment? Well, it wasn't a base and switch. She's not a baseline human. She still probably has some augment DNA in her. But I thought it was fine. Geekicidal tendencies. This was a character building episode, except the whole season to be central to this. We need episodes to emotionally connect with like we did TOS. Fleet Paw shared the video I did when I unboxed that Hallmark thing there. So whoever was asking about that earlier, there is a link there. Just open it in a new tab and watch it after the live, maybe. In Sabanur, if there was a Star Trek anything that came out and a loud minority didn't whine about it, the space-time continuum would collapse and we would all die. Yes, it's true. So please keep doing what you're doing, guys. Dreamer out there, I like how Enterprise is now established canon. That show can follow instead of Enterprise not being written yet, as with TOS. This is the strongest beginning since TOS, I'll give them that, but people beat on it and look for issues because Trek hasn't been great. Hopefully they can earn their credibility back. Yeah. Neomix says, I think a Trek show of the Pasted wouldn't have overlooked the fact that this is the latest episode of a new life form that had been created and that it was a potential first contact situation. Star Trek show of the past. Oh, yeah. It's fine. I mean, there's a lot of TNG episodes that feel very rushed at the end. Like, there's something else you probably need to do. Oh, wait, no, it's the end of the episode. All right, moving on. Warp away from the planet. Next week, new adventure. So, Mr. Captain 93, got to admit, these uniforms look great on screen, and the jackets rock. Fingers crossed that they also have Picard's real body in the pattern buffer for season 3, and Dr. Crusher cures him. I know it's a reach, but I'm still not over the golem body. Jamie, I am sure it has already been said, but I really do like how Pike and Number One had Number One's back and did not accept her resignation. You know, it's happened a few times in Trek as well. Like, I'm not going to accept your resignation. That's happened a few times. The Darth Eddy, I hope Strange New Worlds makes the writers on Discovery realize they need to up their game and make Season 5 something truly fun and special. DS9 and Voyager kind of fed off each other in the late 90s and competed. Amen. It's like WWE and WCW. They both made each other better for a long time. Keeping Me Up podcast says, I'd like to augment Lon's DNA. Kit 10K, I've said this in a previous live, but I really, really would like to see a Miranda class in Strange New Worlds. But a really nice touch if we would see Reliant being commissioned and launched on her for her first mission. Andrew Hess, the virus wouldn't have been a problem on Discovery with all the darkness. I like that. I like that a lot. That's good. Jamie, Pike's reaction reminded me of Riker's comment on justice is never as simple as a rulebook. It was cool how on CTV, DS9 came right on after Strange New Worlds and it felt like it was related. Doc McGillicuddy, how much you want to bet? $3. But Picard is going to realize Q gives him a perfect human body back when he snaps them back to the Stargazer. That'd be cool. If you were offered a role of being on a Star Trek TV series, would you take the gig? Yes. Neomix, yeah, passed. Sorry, silly phone of mine. That's okay. Doc McGillicuddy, those plasma beings are a metamorphosis of the people living there. They probably have their past knowledge and individuality. Same people, new body, no need for first contact. Bryce, I gotta run, but seriously, the sick by computer voice was like early, like Majel. And I'm sure that was intended. Yes, the last episode, she sounded a lot more like Majel when Pike asked her to identify the song on the bridge. It sounded exactly like Majel Barrett. So, but see you later, Bryce. Jamie, doing good, enjoying the stream. Oh, talking to Donnie, fine. Fleetpaw, I love that number one now has a fully canon name, Una Chin Riley. While it doesn't necessarily roll off the tongue, it's certainly better than number one. Yeah. 2 Trekyards World Order for Life. TWO, Trekyards World Order for Life. Jonathan, Uhura's ensign's quarters felt like a reference to Lower Decks, and interestingly, her roommates are both male. Yeah. Ecocidal Tendencies, what a cool-ass motherfucker name. Pike, awesome. Carlos A. Smith, so it looks like the transporter trick was not the first time it used. Yeah, Scotty made it sound like amazingly cool the first time. Boom. It's like, oh no, wait a minute. This is, yeah. Yeah, I have a little bit of problem with the transporter buffer thing in this one, but it is what it is. It's fine. Did you notice the computer's voice tonight? It was not Majel, but it was very similar tone. Nice touch and thought. Yes, last week had it too. We talked about it. Nobody mentioned it last week. We talked about it, but nobody mentioned it. Now everybody's like, did you hear the computer voice in this episode? Yes, it was in the last episode too. And it sounded more like Majel in the last episode. But okay, please tell me about the voice. Yeah, yes. And the woman that does the voice, her name is Alex something. I can't remember her last name, but the crew quarters in this episode reminded me of the Excelsiors in Star Trek VI. Male and female in the same quarters, but with different beds and bunks. Fart Muffin, then Enterprise A, Excelsior was downgraded to cadets and bunk beds. Video awesome. Just finished the most recent Strange New Worlds episode, and I really loved the Pike and Spock scenes and really liked the sets. I had difficulty understanding the Doctor, though. A few people have said that, but Mr. Captain, cool to see Uhura has similar living quarters. Yes, okay, it's the 15th time we've heard that. Ecocidal Tendencies. Hammer is my favorite, next to Una Boobs. Just saying. Andy Clinton, did you think the series has the potential to possibly go 10 seasons rather than standard 7 seasons for a full Trek series? Yes, because they only do 10 fucking episodes per season instead of 24 or 26 episodes a season like TNG and TOS. So even if they go 10 fucking seasons, they're still not going to have nearly as many episodes. So yes, I do think it's a possibility. Doc McGillicuddy, Pike's living as if he's at the Waldorf Astoria while the rest of the crew are sleeping like tuna cans. I wonder if Mbunga taught Scotty that transporter trick. They did serve together, right? They did, yes. Dreamer out there, I did think maybe there might be Una boobs when she went all Kirk on her uniform. Idea for a new show. I like Pike. Carlos says, yes, because a doctor discovered it first. Right. Does he have engineer training? Exactly. The Darth Eddie, this episode does show that Pike's quarters were drastically shrink before Kirk gets there, and lower officers' quarters get bigger. In TOS, the quarters all seemed roughly the same size. Yes, they did. And it's because Pike's Enterprise has about 230 personnel. Kirk's has 430, so they almost doubled the size of the crew for Kirk, which means if they're going to reconfigure the interior, better to slice it up and not have the captain have a goddamn ballroom. And that's why the captain's quarters are the same size as everybody else's. Makes more sense. I hope no Star Trek show will make another reference to holding a person in a pattern buffer for at least 3 years, or I might go crazy. Matthew says, got some sweet Enterprise diagram visuals on the bridge in this episode. Yes, and in engineering. Jaws, Captain, how do you think this episode compares to the previous two? I personally like it most so far just because they tried to explain how they resolved the problem, like on Orion and Comet's shield. I thought this was my least favorite out of the three, for multiple reasons I can't really explain because I just don't know. Something felt a little different to me, but it was still really good. So it was my least favorite out of the three, but Sir Dork, I'm sure we're all very familiar with the Kirk versus Picard debate, but since Stranger Worlds gets more time under its belt, do you think Pike is going to be included in that debate? Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Bryce, if I was Picard and I woke up in an android body and they kept me old and decrepit, I would be mad as heck. People in the Trek are so fatalistic, especially about death. Doc McGillicuddy, reconfiguring the ship for a larger crew. Hope we get a refit to what we are used to. Yep, that's kind of what I'm hoping to. Fart Muffin, if I were Kirk, I'd be jealous of those quarters. Kirk would even have a wood chopping station next to the fire pit. That's hilarious. Oh, please, she was barely that? What are we talking about, Carlos? The Darth Eddie, I guess Scotty still breaks the record at 75 years in the transporter buffer and found a way to keep it running with the rest of the ship's power down. So in a way, his technique is more impressive. Yes, okay. Dreamer out there, I do really love how they're using the visual wall tech like the Mandalorian, so they're kind of real-life holodeck to complete partial sets. Like the engine room, amazing real holodecks. Hell yeah. John McWhat. I also thought it was weird that Lon called her chief. Geekicidal tendencies. Agreed, but the upside is that he will never use a blue pill from a 300-year-old. Kirk would have a horse in a stable. Well, so would Pike. Pike likes horses too. Maybe the next room is his stable. I don't know. We take into account the budgeting and technology limitations of the 1960s when comparing ship interiors, right? No. And speaking of fire pit, was it real or holographic? I would think real because it has a chimney built in, so you don't need that for a holographic fire pit, right? Yes, Sonic, I would. Hip Karma. Disappointed I've missed most of this live. I remain hopeful about this series. Not at all will smash it out of the park. We still learn more about multiple main characters, which I appreciate. He's a golem, not a bot. Geesh. Yeah, Sonic fans kind of coming off as a bot, but that's okay. Mr. Captain, is there a requirement for the captain of the Enterprise to be an expert horse rider with their own saddle, of course? I mean, maybe. Captain, I'm in Manitoba and they're calling for snow Friday, for fuck's sakes. Oof. That sucks. Doc McGillicuddy, Sonic fan. If Amy was real, would you eat chili dogs with her? Jonathan, the transporter room was bright, but it did look pretty cool. I'm a little divided on how I feel about it because cool looking and all. I still want to see the TOS transporter room. Yeah, I really like the new transporter room, but I'm on the same page with you there. So I like the new sets. I like the new ship. It looks amazing, but video awesome. It is certainly better than Picard and Discovery, but it's certainly far from legendary still. And Sonic Fan 22 says, no, 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 guys, I'm not a bot, honestly. That's exactly what a bot would say. You're a new AI bot that's trying to learn how to interact with people on a live stream. I get it. Pax Space, rumor for season 5 plot of Disco. Something from the center of the galaxy threatens all known life, and only a 23rd century crew knows how to fix it. Oh, and lots of talk about feelings during battles. Kit 10K, just got back from taking the dogs out. Archie, the little bastard, had a case of the zoomies, and I'm exhausted from just watching him. Ah, the zoomies. Zoomies are amazing. Weather in Connecticut is going to hit 90, and we had a frost warning the other week. Doc McGillicuddy, can we get some of that snow here in Alabama? It was 91 today, and all of the grass is dying. It's incredibly dry here. The river next to my house is almost running dry. Well, that sucks. You can have all the snow we've ever had, but we don't fucking want it. Video Awesome says, to be honest, I'm a bot. Okay. Wonderful. No, so in conclusion, I did like this episode. I didn't think it was as good as the other two. I don't know why, and it's going to be interesting to see where we rank it score-wise tomorrow. I mean, after we discuss it, sometimes changes our opinion on things, but yeah, I mean, check out our review tomorrow afternoon, our edited one, and then our live one at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, oh God, baby Jesus, don't cross Picard over with Discovery. D-Clan Gibbs, I'm a bit disappointed in Lon's relationship with Khan reveal. Didn't seem to add much and didn't really go anywhere. I hope they make more of a story of that in the future. Yeah, I wish he wouldn't even be. But yeah, don't. Kirk more strict, I think. I don't see Pike reprimanding someone for screwing up. Only 3 episodes, though. Picard probably would have demoted number 1 for number 2 to number 2 for lying. Dreamer out there, it's because it's kind of steps on Space Seed's toes, Cap, and Scotty's too. So far, I feel episode 2 was the best. Yeah. Just Germ, how does anyone on here know what everyone else is not a bot? Dun dun dun. Maybe I'm a bot. Maybe I'm the most advanced bot ever created. You will never know. Oh, look, a beverage. I must consume beverage. That is what people do, is it not? Why have I turned back into my old pattern? Must reset. That's better. Sorry. Fart Muffin. I mean, if you cross Picard and Discovery, are they really going to hurt either of the shows? They are great. The Darth Eddie. Kirk probably would have lectured Una for hiding her augment biology, but then wiped his logs of any references to her status to protect her career because he valued her. Kirk loved bending rules. Do we know what's up for episode 4? I do not. Jeff, according to my wife, I am nothing, nothing, Mr. Roboto. Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. Domo. Domo. Shit, he's been assimilated. Run. I wish they had an episode preview at the end like TOS. Remember them from the VHS tapes? Yes, indeed. Jeff Sturm, the bot would have finished the beer. That is not realistic. So, as they throw the rules around in our faces, we have folks breaking them too. Double standard, yes? Video awesome. We are all actually bots, and the captain is an AI deepfake. It's true. Doc McGillicuddy, Halo is terrible Halo, but I'm not bad. It's not a bad sci-fi show. John McWhat, I hope whatever the next Trek series is, they notice that episodic with character arcs is still a really good approach to writing. Bryce says, I was calling Foley Charlie. Just tough luck that canon we want gets tossed out by whatever the new writers want. Yeah. But visually, they've told us, see this? This is supposed to be this. That looks different. Visually, this isn't the same. Therefore, visually, even though we're saying it's canon, it's prime, trust us. It's not, because everything they're showing us proves it's not. So, fuck them. It's not prime. It's its own thing. It's the Discoverse. It's fine. We've got the Kelvinverse. We got the Discoverse. We got the Prime universe. We got the NX01 universe, if you want to do that. It's fine. Believe whatever you want in your head canon. I just know for a fact in my mind this is not prime, and it's fine. It's very similar. It's running right alongside, just different look. And that's fine. What did I start by asking that question about the boss? I'm liking the Strange New World transporter room more and more with each week. Maybe it's just me, but I can see elements of TOS look in some parts of it, and the room feels slightly smaller than it first did. Still feels super huge, though. Stewart is really Samuel masquerading as Stewart, who's pretending to be Canadian. This is true. 2 beeps for no, 1 beep for yes, but... Meh, meh. The Foleyverse, yes. About time you showed up, Grievous. I was getting lonely. Pretty awesome. Whoever thought having serialized Trek was a good idea? I know. It's like Grant McGregor, $5. Virus out of light. Wouldn't want someone turning into a laser or flash grenade, a bioweapon. That's a loophole for bioweapon bans. It's funny. I'm overheating. I am still a robot. Bryce says, oh, I agree. It is the Discoverse, not Prime. Fully 404 error. What is up with Kyle's uniform? Well, it's not a good point, because if you look at TOS, the technicians that are sometimes operating the transporter have like a jumpsuit, like a red jumpsuit. It's just a variation. It's like the radiation suits you see in the movies, the white ones. They're just different versions of specific departments. So I can see why McCoy hated the transporters. What if Kyle sneezed while sliding up the switches? Now listen very carefully, Norman. Everything I tell you is a lie. I am lying to you. But if everything you say is a lie, then you are telling the truth, but you cannot tell the truth because everything you say is a lie. But you should end the stream here when bot overheated. Someone should make a clip compilation of these live streams fully out of context. It would be hilarious. I would love for somebody to do that. I would love a Trekyards live stream channel. That takes a lot of people do it. They do shows on Twitch, and they have a live stream channel where somebody actually takes the lives, edits the best bits together, and puts them on YouTube. It would have to be Trekyards created, obviously, but if any talented editors out there want to take a crack at it, There's a lot of lives to go through to get some really good content. There's some gold out there. Also, probably some bad things that I probably don't want. I say stupid shit sometimes, so. Yes, Fart Muffin. It's not my internet. It's me rebooting. Get him fresh batteries. Side note, what are the odds we get an episode where Pike talks a computer to death? Like 90%? Oh yeah, there's going to be one. The phaser sound when Una stuns Hammer is the TOS sound effect heard when Kirk has to shoot both Spock and Gary 7 to stun both. Just got an Enterprise D Vincent Van Gogh Starry Night from license plate. That's front license plate. That's cool. BJ Charon, I like the red coveralls in TOS, which to see crew in the flight suits coveralls evolved from Enterprise. Burnham and others wore a one-piece jumpsuit a few times in Disco. You'll have to make do with Fleet Paw making memes of you. I don't have the knowledge to make a compilation. It would be per episode, per live. And then you just put an abbreviated version of it on a live channel. So if somebody doesn't want to watch 2.5 hour live, they can watch a 40-minute, just scaled down best bits. I would love to do that, but it would be so much work. Cap, what do you think about the writers were implying with Wesley Mussey in the century? Don't know. I never even thought about it until someone mentioned that like a day or two afterwards. And I'm like, that's fucking funny. If that's what they're trying to explain, I love it. Yes, please. More. Okay, the Doctor's Soon Dynamics manual says we should try turning the captain off and on again. Please try turning me on. Hello, Smithers. You are really good at turning me on. Wesley, make the joke was a way for writers to recon their entire writing team. I would laugh if the series finale, the ship was destroyed. I'm all rebuilding it. Someone asked whether the new ship would be called the Enterprise 2, and someone says that sounds dumb. Number 1, should have stunned the security officer rather than fighting her when the ship was on the verge of a warp core breach. Yes. I guess we finally know why Picard said, "Shut up, Wesley." Hello, IT. Have you tried turning it off and on again? All right, so here's the job. If I do get turned off, if I move back too far and click my on-off button on my back, which one of you out there wants to turn me on? I know Admiral Sylvia will, but she's not here right now, so. The pug will. I don't want a pug turning me on. Keeping me up podcast. Me, I'll turn you on, Captain. Winner. Late to the party, Captain. How are you so far? I'm good, Ming W. Lee. But the pug is asleep. She is. Ew, turn him on. Oh, thank you. The TOS episode where Kirk, his crew, and Mudd all essentially just went nuts to overrun the androids made me laugh a lot, especially the Kirk with Spock's bit. I have to get Wesley Crusher to turn him on. Turning Cap off. Naked pictures of Morn. How do you know? I'm glad your system's automatically rebooted. Yes, this happens sometimes. It would take me 7 hours to get there to do it, Grievous. Plus, I don't know the special spot. The captain needs to plug himself into something. Admiral Sylvia. JB, come on, Cap, wake up. There are hot wings at the front door waiting for you, but you have to wake up. Let's not talk about food. I've had a craving this whole fucking live. I haven't eaten supper yet, by the way, because I haven't been hungry. And I figure if I'm not hungry, I shouldn't eat. But then I had a little bit of a craving. I'm like, I'm not even going to say what it's for, but maybe I'll run out after the live and grab something. But then it gets late, so I don't think I want to eat that. I don't know. Yo, Cap, is clipping and posting the lives a paying gig? We don't make enough to pay anybody, so no. Wish we could pay an editor. Wait, do Canadians call it supper? Yes, supper, dinner. Yeah. He read more and talk for hours. Apparently it's turned people off, but no one has ever heard him speak. Just glue a pick up Picard's mom under his eyelids. It will scare him. Oh, fucking hate it. Yes. That would work. And no, Fleetpaw, I will not make that. Captain, do you think number one's log was really deleted, or will it be foreshadowed for some admiral find out? I think it was really deleted. I wonder how many times Geordi turned data on. Well, there's my nightmare for the night. Neomix, I would plug into Una. I've loved Rebecca Romaine since 1992 or something. I'd plug into Nurse Chapel. She's the most adept at, fixing this problem like that. So, yeah, this went south really quick. Anyway, guys, we're coming up on that 2-hour mark, and I'm getting silly. So, you know what I have over here? Can anyone guess? I'll give everybody a chance to guess. I've got something over here. Ramjawan Sandhu, $5. Getting some great angles of the engine room. How do you like it so far? I think it's pretty great, actually. So, thank you. Grant McGregor, $5. Here's a drink to the unsung heroes of New Trek, the prop and special effects department. No one is talking about Spock's blood being just right. Unsung heroes. Watch the captain's log when you went to the Aurora Borealis orthodontal office. If you ever need a cameraman for the next time you're back, I'm down the road. Ooh, there you go. Every time Chapel walks on screen in that jumpsuit, I think of where your eyes are fixed on. Canada has a population of California. Hint, please. Well, Kit 10K got it because he's been watching long enough, apparently. But it's still here, the bird of prey. And it lights up. It's so pretty. Got this in Chicago, and it's the rare one. It's the HMS Bounty. So, what's that? You don't believe me? It says HMS Bounty right there. HMS Bounty. It's the Star Trek 4 one. It's usually when I go crazy this time of night that I pull this out. So most people that watch the lives would know that. So I know who my true fans are. It's fine. But a bong, that's a good answer. You were like a 9-year-old unboxing that thing. What we need is a Stranger World episode where a tempo anomaly that sees the Enterprise encounter a refit Connie from the future. Yes. Why is it written on the bottom and not on the side? Because it was written on the landing gear. There's the landing gear section if you want to have the landing gear on. So it's written right there. That's where it was painted. So when the landing gear go in and that goes up, that's why it's on the bottom. Does it make sense now? Do you get it? HMS Bounty. Simple. You can do it. You can figure it out. I know you can. How much was the bird of prey? They had it marked for 125. I got it for 80. Or was it 100? Oh, it was 110. It was 110. Doc McGillicuddy's right. Don't know where I got 125 from. But yeah, I got it for a discount. It was worth sending money. It was worth sending money, that con, just for you to get that bird of prey. Yes, thank you, Doc. Doc McGillicuddy was very kind and sent $60 for gas for that trip, and that was really appreciated. So you guys are awesome. I heard a rumor that Playmobil will be making a bird of prey for its next Star Trek model. Yeah, I've heard that as well. I still have not seen any pictures of it, though. Maybe I'll get it. We'll see. They sent me the Enterprise for free, so we'll see. Anyway, guys, at the 2 hour mark. Anybody have any last super chats they want to throw in? Now's the time. If you're able to, if you haven't hit like yet, hit like. See if we can get another $7 in likes. But why does the landing gear have to retract? There's no friction in space, but there is in the atmosphere. Guess where it has to land? In a fucking atmosphere. So, are you okay? My younger brother bought me a couple of Eaglemouse models, including one of the subtitular space station Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Doc McGillicuddy throws in $1. He's got the last super chat slot. Yeah. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that. Sometimes I'll go for 2.5 hours. Just tonight, I'm kind of getting burned out again. So, just feel like kind of calling it soon. So, Fleet Paw, $2. You blinded me. Blinded by the light of the bird of the prey that comes from Star Trek for the HMS Bounty is right. And I'm not a genius like Hammer. $1 makes Foley holla. $1 makes me holla, honey boo boo. Neomix, what's the shop's computer voice in the background saying? It says a lot of things. I don't know. Don't pay attention. Thank you, Kit. Wings die. Mike Cap, thanks for doing these. Cap, we know it's not easy. Good for all of us to talk Trek. Yes. I love hanging out with you guys and just chatting. What is your record long live? Well, for Trekyards, it was like 7 hours. For me personally, probably just over 3 hours. But yeah, one of our Trekyards lives was over 7 hours, so. That was both me and Samuel. I actually have more fun when it's just me. Don't tell Samuel that. It's a secret. Shh. Oh, we hit 180 likes. That's awesome. Too bad you can't stand our ugly faces for 2.5 hours, Lucky. You calling me ugly? You calling me ugly? Sound like you're calling me ugly, Doc. Rest well, Captain. I bet Samuel will have a lot wanted to discuss in this episode. There wasn't a lot. We've already filmed that stuff. General Grievous, $2. We bow before General Grievous, the best general. Boom. What was the 7 hours Trekyards on? I don't remember. It was like 2 years ago. Thoughts on Kurtzman hitting the 7 and Raffy spin-off? Personally, I want to vomit through Raffy. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. Not a fan. I remember the 7 hour Trekyards must have been one hell of a hangover the next morning. Oh yes, that's the was that the first one? No, that wasn't the first one. The first one I almost died, like right after it was over. I was on the bathroom floor. But that 7 hour one, it was more paced and wasn't too bad. Wasn't too bad of a hangover. I remember that one. It was fucking hilarious. The shirts were lost. Samuel's asleep right now in his Admiral's jammies, I bet. As long as it's his Admiral's jammies and not my Admiral's jammies, like Admiral Sylvia's jammies, because she doesn't wear jammies to bed. She does around the house, but not too much. I don't know if you guys follow me on Twitter, at Captain Foley, but please do. I've been sharing a lot of pictures and stuff, or if you follow me on Facebook, please comment on the pictures and stuff that I post. But anyway, guys, vintage computer custodian. Someone Control Alt Delete the captain. Why? Oh. All right. Who's gonna hit Control Alt Delete? Somebody? Anybody? Do it now.